everyone, I am Afifah binti Jasni from University Putra Malaysia, currently studying in Chemical and Environmental Engineering. Okay, this is my video presentation for my final year project, which entitled Fire Spread Between Objects Through Radiation. Okay, this is my presentation outline. It starts with the introduction, and then the problem statements and the objective of my project, and then the literature review, and followed by the methodology, expected outcome, and last but not least, the Gantt chart for my final year project. Introduction. Okay, first, the fundamental of the fire study is to know the concept of fire behavior and to widen the study in fire. So, a hands-on practice is a great tool to develop and to prove the theories. There's many house fire in Malaysia. So, a study is conducted to prove and to find the potential radiation of fire to spread. So, we will identify the time taken for the material to burn in a house. Looking at the background of my studies, I can see that there's a lot of fire incident in Malaysia. So, according to the Fire Rescue Department Malaysia, in a year, there's around 6,000 premises burned in Malaysia, and out of that, 2,400 that burn is a house. So, annually, around 120 to 150 people perish in the fire. There's one tragedy in Malaysia at Kuala Lumpur of Tahfiz Al-Quran, where the fire burned out the whole building just in a blink of eyes. So, according to the ZAIDI, Head Department of Fire Rescue Malaysia, the fire quickly spread because of a lot of flammable material like mattress and fabrics. With that, I can say that there's something that triggered the fire to spread quickly. Looking for all the cases above, so I guess that a study is important to be conducted in order to avoid those incidents in future. Since there's a lot of cases in Malaysia, so we need to consider all the cases. So, as a researchers or students, we can see that there's a lacking of data about the ignition source and about the material that might be burned in the house in Malaysia. Yet, the types of material in the house of Malaysian also need to be studied, and as it is a big factor of the fire to be spread. So, the objective of this project is to determine the time taken of the materials to burn and the performance of the ignition of each material when it is exposed. I've done some research and some study about the fire. Okay, let me share about the fire. Okay, what is fire? Fire is a rapid oxidation. It is a chemical reaction actually, and it undergoes oxidation where it is an exothermic process. Someone say that fire is an entity which engulf and consume oxygen and matter to stay alive. So is it scary, right? So basically fire can be introduced with one model we call fire triangle. So fire triangle have three different elements, which are oxygen, fuel, and heat. With that three element, it can make a fire and will ignite a fire too. So basically, fire can be spread with three ways, which are radiation, conduction, and convection. Okay, for the conduction, it is a heat transfer where the fire in contact with the things itself. And the convection, it use a medium like liquid or gas to transfer the heat. And for the radiation, it's quite different and unique because it does not need a medium, and it is just an independent where in a vacuum and no physical contact at all. So it is like a radiant energy with like something like electromagnetic wave. When we are talking about fire, there's a energy release in on that fire. So that energy, we call it heat flux rate. So basically, heat flux rate is a heat release from the fire. It will give different impact and effect to the material if it is exposed to the different heat flux or heat release. Okay, I also study about the material of the things that in the house. Basically, the material are something like polyester, it can be called PET. It is mostly used in the clothing and the furnishing. The second one is the cotton, where it is a natural fiber that mostly used in our clothes. So the third one is the nylon. Nylon is something like polyester that is a synthetic polyester. So basically, there's some standard apparatus to measure the heat flux. So I study about the two apparatus which are ISO ignitability. So that one is the apparatus to test the radiant of the ignitability. It can provide up to 50 kilowatt per meter squared and highly consistent. And the second one I study about the concalorimeter. It is the modern one, and it can develop ignitability, heat release, and mass loss. So it can give around 100 kW per meter squared. Okay, for the methodology, here are the methodology sequence. So first, I will do the experimental setup. So in the experimental setup, I list all the materials and the apparatus that are going to be used. So the materials is some things like fabrics or plastics. And then the apparatus, I'll use candle, retort stand, metal box, camera, ruler, and stopwatch, and the match for the to ignite the fire. So basically, it is conducted under the chimney chamber so that the smoke will go up to the chamber, and a candle is being used as an initial source, and it will burn the sample above the fire so that the time taken for the fire to burn the sample can be recorded. So the phase 1 of the experiment will be the verification of the experiment itself, because I used the candle to be the initial source. So I need to verify whether the candle can be used and it is valid to the project or not, because we are lacking of the apparatus, and due to some limitation, we have to introduce new ways of the experiment. So after the phase 1 can be called successful, we will run the phase 2, where we will test all the materials in the living room to determine the prediction of the time taken of each material. Last but not least, I will analyze all the data given and provide a new data set for the Malaysia. Okay, I have two expected outcome. First one is for the phase 1. So I can say that maybe the phase 1 is successful with less than 30% percentage error, so that it can be after it is verified, so it is acceptable to be used for the phase 2. So for the phase 2, I expect that I can collect more materials in the living room in Malaysia. Okay. Last but not least, I would like to share my Gantt chart for my project for the whole 2 semesters. So it starts from the December to February, where I can conduct the experiment for the verification of the experiment. After the verification is done, so I will do some analysis, and on February I'll start to do phase 2 experiment where I need to do the prediction of the material itself. After that, I'll done the analysis of the data. After I collect all the data, I will be ready for the final presentation and ready to be published on June. Thank you. Bye bye.